Welcome first-time listeners and returners to the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table. What about fucking Colin? Why does he not have a fucking job? Because he's still being whiteballed. Why is Tom not speaking out about that? He should be his biggest fucking ally. And he hasn't said one fucking thing. A lot of people that have come on this show, I don't know why, they've gotten some good fucking jobs afterwards. Jim Rome in the jungle. It's right here in the Sports Deli, baby. We got some good ass karma right here. Let's fucking go.
I love it.
Man.
I love it.
We hope you enjoy today's show, everyone.
All right, let's rock and roll. Hey, everyone, this is Hoot, host and producer of the Sports Deli podcast. We are going to be breaking down Caitlin Clark's interview on ESPN, and let me know what you think. Send me an email to thesportsdeli@gmail.com, and I appreciate you listening today.
Caitlin Clark, the Consensus Player of the Year, is joining us now from Iowa City. She's not supposed to know what we are about to announce, what we are supposed to inform her about, but I think the cat's out of the bag. Caitlin, good afternoon. How you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good. I'm not sure under what false pretenses you might have been lured into the chair today, but we are here to make it official. Congratulations. You are the 2023 John R. Wooden Women's Player of the Year, as presented by Wendy's and given by the Los Angeles Athletic Club. I know it's a mouthful, and I know you're just kind of soaking it in now, but again, congratulations. And if you could, it's a clean sweep now of all the Player of the Year awards. What does this mean to you?
This is a huge honor. This is one of the most prestigious. Obviously, all these awards are a big deal, but, I was a finalist for this award last year. So they do a tremendous job, with the award ceremony, with the banquet. And, I'm just really honored to win this award. Obviously, Coach Wooden is a legend. It's just a big honor to win an award in his name.
Caitlin, it's been a couple of days now since the final. 10 million people on average watching, an audience that peaked at about 12 million, the highest rated women's basketball game ever. How have you been wrapping your head around, processing not only what happened in the tournament, but your entire season, the way it elevated the game?
It's honestly probably pretty hard for me to wrap my head around. It will probably take me a few weeks to reflect on the whole year. But, obviously just the last month in general has been kind of a whirlwind. And, I'm lucky to be a part of it. I think our team, we've done a tremendous job, had so much fun. And, more than anything, I know we played the maximum amount of games, but I'm just kind of sad it's over. But, it was fun to compete in the national championship. And, Hawk fans traveled so well to Dallas, and to be able to share that moment with them was, really fun too.
All that you've achieved this season, again, the conversation around women's basketball, particularly in the last few weeks, what do you think it will mean to young athletes out there who aspire to be like you?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is, I just want to inspire young boys and young girls to, be able to dream and do the same things that I've done. I was just that young girl. I looked up to, WNBA players, NBA players, college athletes, even other pro sport athletes. So, all you have to do is dream, work really hard, and be surrounded by really, really good people that believe in you too. And that's what I have here at the University of Iowa. So, I'm just lucky that I get to live out my dream on the biggest stage and, make a lot of other people turn into women's basketball fans too.
Caitlin, as you're well aware, the last couple of days, there's been this kind of national debate about what happened between you and Angel Reese in the final, the gestures she made towards you, the gestures you had made of a similar nature earlier in the tournament. What do you think about what happened on Sunday between you and Angel Reese?
Honestly, I haven't been on social media a ton since, we lost. But I think the biggest thing is, it was a competitive, super, super fun game. And I think that's what's going to bring more people to our game. I think the viewership speaks for itself over the past, tournament run. But even before that, our Big Ten tournament championship game had, huge amount of viewers as well. So, I'm just lucky to be on that stage, competing against some of the best players. And I think people are really starting to realize how good our game is, how good the product is. So when you turn on the TV, they understand it. They keep coming back for more. But, all the credit in the world to LSU. They played tremendous. They made a lot of tough shots on us, but, Kim Mulkey's one of the best coaches of all time. So, you got to give them a lot of credit. But I think we have so much to be proud of. And that's what Coach Bludert told us after the game is, don't hang your head, hold it high because you have a lot to celebrate, a lot to be proud of. And, you made a lot of history for the state of Iowa.
I know you don't want to dwell on it, but this controversy and, Angel Reese took a lot of criticism in a way that you hadn't. What do you think might account for the difference there?
I think the biggest thing is, we're all competitive. We all show our emotions in a different way. Angel's tremendous, tremendous player. I have nothing but respect for her. I love her game. The way she rebounds the ball, scores the ball is absolutely incredible. I'm a big fan of her and even the entire LSU team. Like I said, they played an amazing game. So, I don't think there should be any criticism for what she did. I honestly didn't see it when the game was going on. And like I said, I haven't been on social media really at all. I'm just trying to reflect back on what this team did and enjoy every single second with my teammates because, we have two really good seniors that are moving on from our team that have given a lot. And, they've been some of my best friends, while I've been here at the University of Iowa. So I'm just lucky enough that, I got to play on that stage and have that opportunity with them. And I believe I get to play for one of the best coaches of all time and Coach Bluter. And she believes in me more than anybody ever has. So, I'm just more than anything lucky.
As we've been saying, a lot of people have been talking about it, but one of the things people talk about is race as a component of this. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think Angel should be criticized at all. No matter which way it goes, she should never be criticized for what she did. I'm just one that competes and she competed. So I think everybody knew there was going to be a little trash talk in the entire tournament. It's not just me and Angel. So, I don't think she should be criticized. Like I said, LSU deserves it. They played so well. And like I said, I'm a big fan of hers.
Do you think the focus on this suggests that we hold women to a different standard than men?
Yeah, I think men have always had trash talk. That's what it's been. And I think more and more people, as they turn on the game, they're appreciating it for what it is. I'm just lucky enough that I get to play this game and have emotion and wear it on my sleeves. And so does everybody else. So that should never be torn down. That should never, be criticized because I believe that's what makes this game so fun. That's what draws people to this game. That's what draws it to the pro level, to the college level, to the high school level. So either way, it doesn't matter. You should be able to play with that emotion. That's what makes it so fun. Nobody wants to tune in and not see people, be competitive and passionate about what they're doing across any sport. That's how it should be. So I believe that's, what it should be. And that's how I'm going to continue to play. That's how every girl should continue to play. So I'm just lucky enough that, we have fans support us and, want to watch that type of basketball.
Obviously, Caitlin, not the outcome you would hope for, but how do you build on that experience of losing in the final?
I think, appreciating what we did and understanding how hard it was to get there and how much hard work that it takes to get to that point. I'm lucky enough that I get to play on that level. But also, we came up one game short. So why not, go back to work even harder. And obviously we lost two really good seniors, like I said. And, I think we can get back to that point. Obviously, it takes a lot of hard work. You got to win some really tough games. We had tough matchups, all throughout the tournament. We were challenged. So that's what you love about the NCAA tournament. I think it's the hardest postseason tournament in all of sport. And all you can do is, continue to get better and continue to work hard. But I think it gives you a little fire moving forward.
Your team's going to look different next season, of course, as you've been saying. But there's been a lot of talk already in the last couple of days about a potential rematch with LSU. How would you feel about that?
Yeah, I love playing the best teams, and I think we're lucky enough to have a coaching staff that builds a really good schedule for us every single year. If you looked at our non-conference schedule, we played some of the best teams, Oregon State, UConn, we traveled to K-State, Iowa State. You can just go on and on about the really good teams we played. So, I'm not the one that makes the schedule by any means, and obviously we're not in the same conference as LSU or, Louisville or, Georgia or any of the teams that we really played. So, I don't make the schedule, but I love playing in really, highly anticipated games where, it's going to come down to the wire. I think that brings the best out of, competitors. And I think at the same time that's what the fans want to see. And that's what's going to bring more viewership to our game is really highly competitive matchups, and I'm just grateful that I got to play on a stage that had a lot of those.
Caitlin, the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, was at the final on Sunday. She said afterwards the game was so great. She was thinking about inviting both teams to the White House, yourselves and LSU. Would you want to go to the White House as a runner-up?
I don't know. I don't think runner-ups usually go to the White House. I think LSU should, enjoy that moment for them. And congratulations. Obviously, they deserve to go there. Maybe I could go to the White House on different terms, though. But, I think, that's for LSU. So, that's a pretty cool moment, and they should enjoy every single, second of being a champion. So, I think that's theirs to do. But more than anything, I'm just lucky enough that there were some really cool people in the arena at that championship game. Sunday night. There was some really, highly sought after people watching and supporting women's basketball, and that's exactly what this game needs. So I appreciate the First Lady being in the house and watching both teams and supporting the greatness of women's basketball.
Such a huge moment. Caitlin, congratulations on the 2023 John R. Wooden Women's Player of the Year Award and on your tremendous season overall. Thank you so much for being with us.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me
I
on.
hope you enjoyed that interview with Caitlin Clark. Shout out to Jeremy Schaap from Outside the Lines for the thoughtfulness with regards to his questions. So first of all, again, if you haven't seen what happened between LSU and Iowa, then I suggest that you go online and read up a little bit about what happened and sort of the history of how we got to this point. But there's two different issues going on here. First, the end of game situation and the timing of Angel Reese's showing of the ring finger and trying to get Caitlin Clark to look at her was a whole different issue than what she talked about in the press conference after the game with regards to the two different narratives that have been taking place this entire year, according to Angel. And, you can see from some of the language that I presented here with some of the images. And for those of you listening and not watching on YouTube, there's basically two completely different narratives in terms of how people viewed Angel Reese this year and Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is the great white hope. She's the Steph Curry of women's basketball. And Angel Reese is a thug, classless, and, big picture-wise, I've said this many times, but I'm 100% against any of those micro and macro aggressions against any marginalized community, especially the black and brown community, and especially against black and brown women. It's unacceptable, it's intolerable, it's disgusting. And in the white space, I myself feel like I have a responsibility to denounce and call out anything in this space that, all things being equal, creates two different narratives with regards to the white player, in this case Caitlin Clark from the University of Iowa, and the woman of color, Angel Reese from Louisiana State University. First of all, both of these women are badass MFers. Like, they can flat out play. Now, I've been coaching basketball for 31 years. 15 years on the men's side. This will be my 17th year on the women's side. I've coached professional women, professional men, the highest level of intercollegiate women's basketball players individually from the University of Illinois, Creighton, University of San Diego, and other schools. Did I say Oregon State? Oregon State. And I have a pretty good feel for the game. I played 4 years of college basketball, and I was one of the biggest trash talkers there were. I didn't find many people more mentally tough than me. So I get the trash talking, and there are two different narratives when it comes to trash talking as well. So let's get back to what Angel Reese did at the end of the game versus Iowa. They had already won the national championship. There was about 50 seconds left in the game, and she kept trying to, several times, for many seconds, not just waving the hand and pointing to the ring finger to the crowd, but really trying to get Caitlin Clark's goat. Look, it was on the spectrum of classless to me. It was cringe. Again, this is a separate issue than what Angel Reese talked about in the press conference. This is a separate issue than what Dawn Staley talked about in the press conference. I don't have a problem with rivalries and trash talking and Caitlin Clark waving the ball behind her. I thought the referee should have let that go. There's got to be a little bit of edginess. It can't be all flowers and niceties with regards to the women's game because they're women. Like, that's ridiculous. There's a reason why there's 9.9 million or 12 million during one of the games people watching the women's Final Four, higher than any NBA game this year, higher than a lot of major sports games in any sport this year. There's a reason for it. Because it was marketed differently and because people love the rivalries and they love the product, flat out. Now, I remember when Paige Beckers at the ESPYs a couple years ago used her platform. She's white. She's one of the best college basketball players in America. She was out this year with an injury, season-ending injury. And she used her platform to amplify black and brown women and how, very similarly to what we're talking about here, there are two different narratives in this country. And if you know the history of women's basketball, from the WBL to the ABL to the WNBA, you know that in large part, and I also suggest that you check out If Not For Them. It's a docu-series that's being put out that shows a lot of the history of the women's basketball game. And we know a lot of the history of the men's game, but we don't know the history of the women's game in the same way. So I think that's another important sidebar to all this. But it's really important that we create these equal playing fields with regards to the men's and women's game on some level, even though it's a different product, it's a different style of play, but I absolutely love it. I've connected more with the women's side the last 17 years than I ever did on the men's side. And so, I just think that this double standard with regards to the men's and women's game and what women are supposed to be doing or allowed to do is ridiculous. So that is a separate issue. With regards to what Caitlin did and what Angel Reese did, they did similar things, but the timing of it to me was nuanced. And I just thought it was cringe what Angel did at the end of the game. If she would have just showed the ring finger, maybe once and then pointed to the crowd to that extent, would have been wonderful to me. But the bigger picture obviously is more important. And so as I was saying with regards to what Paige talked about at the ESPYs, I hope that Caitlin goes down that road because she talked a lot about her teammates. She talked a lot about her fan base, which we could talk about also as well. There's been some rumors about some of her fan base having inappropriate and unacceptable signs. And again, it's just not acceptable. But I hope Caitlin, again, goes down that Paige road where she uses her white privilege to be a voice and an ally in the anti-racist space for black and brown America, especially black and brown women who are the little girls that she talked about, as well as the high school players, as well as the intercollegiate players and the professional players. And so I think she's going to be a Hall of Famer, and she's going to have a responsibility like Sue Bird, like the women's soccer players who have fought for equal pay. I think Caitlin Clark has a chance to be one of the first $1 million players in the WNBA. She's a transformational player, and with that comes great responsibility. And so I thought she handled herself well. I would have liked to have seen more than what she shared with Jeremy and the country and the world. But I thought she responded really well by saying that she didn't think anything was wrong with what Angel did. Trash talking is good for the game. We need to have rivalries, and she hopes to return to the Final Four next year, and she welcomes a rematch with LSU. But shout out to Angel Reese. Man, she's so good. Her hands are amazing around the basket. I've rarely seen anyone with her type of mobility, footwork, ability to finish. And as she continues to broaden her game out to the perimeter, she could really be like the Kevin Durant of the WNBA. I mean, she's so good. And as far as Angel's musical career goes, be really cool to see her win a national championship, a WNBA championship, and a Grammy. Hey, if Kobe can do something similar, why can't Angel Reese? She is badass. So even though I didn't agree with the way that she handled the end of game situation, she could have handled it with a little bit more class. I know not everyone's Barry Sanders, but at the same time, um, the bigger picture, the bigger conversation needs to continue to be had and talked about, and we need more people in the white space to be allies, to be anti-racist, to be conscious and deliberate every day, to be bridges and vessels, to create equal opportunities for everyone in this country, especially in the black and brown community, especially black and brown women, and make sure that in sport we continue to amplify women's sports as we start the 51st year of the anniversary of Title IX. So shout out to Coach Mulkey. I have my opinions about her, about some other things, namely Brittany Griner. But with regards to this situation, what she did in 2 years to bring a national title to Louisiana State University is crazy. The other thing I want to talk about, well, two more things real quick. I did a video on the Google search of LSU National Championships versus UConn National Championships. So I encourage you to go watch that. It's very interesting to see how after only 4 videos and images of LSU in that search, there was football images that came up. On the other hand, with regards to UConn's men just won the national championship. UConn's women under Gino Auriemma have won 11 national championships. And LSU won 1 football championship in 2019 since the football playoff has started in 2013, I believe. So again, even the internet is sexist and biased. 4 videos when you were scrolling before you saw an image of the football team, and then there were several images of the football team. But with regards to the UConn women, at least 75 images came up before you saw one image of Gino Auriemma's teams that won 11 championships. So we just have to continue to do the work in this area. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the transfer portal and NIL. Obviously, NIL has been extremely lucrative for a lot of people, especially women. So shout out to all the women out there who are getting NIL deals. I think it's amazing, and it's a long time overdue. But with regards to the 2 people that we're talking about today, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark did not take advantage of the transfer portal. She's been at University of Iowa the entire time. And Angel Reese was at Maryland first, didn't work out, and she took advantage of the transfer portal, ended up at LSU, and you see the advantage of getting a fresh start. And finally, another great feel-good story, if you want to look more into it, is the point guard Alexis Morris from LSU. She started with Coach Mulkey at Baylor, and she took the scenic route to come back to play for Coach Mulkey this year at LSU. And congrats to her for evolving, for having one of the best mid-range games in the country, and she was the catalyst. An incredible point guard, and she, I think, went to 4 different schools, if I'm not mistaken, before she found her way back with Coach Mulkey, who threw her off the team at the University of Baylor. And I think she went to Rutgers and Texas A&M. I don't know. I can't remember all the schools, but again, the transfer portal allowed her to get a fresh start, several fresh starts, and now she's a national champion. So kudos to Alexis Morris, Angel Reese, and if you didn't see the video of Alexis Morris waiting outside in the hallway for Caitlin Clark and like gave her a 5, slapped her hand, like admires her game so much, like that's the kind of respect that I wished Angel Reese had shown at the end of the game. And just showed her hand to the crowd, showed the ring finger to the crowd, did the I don't see you, the same thing that Caitlin Clark did to Louisville to the crowd, but didn't push it so much at the end of the game right in Caitlin Clark's face. And Caitlin never really disrespected LSU ever. It was just more about gameswomanship to Louisville and, other teams throughout the year. And, I know Angel said she was sticking up for her SEC sisters at South Carolina, when she did that in part. But again, 2 different issues. End of game situation with regards to Angel Reese. Disagreed with how she handled it. But again, the bigger picture that she talked about and Coach Staley talked about black women and brown women in sport and in America is the bigger issue. And I'm 100% on board with regards to that. And so I just want to make sure people are clear about those two separate issues, in my opinion. Obviously, we talked about trash talking and all of that stuff as well. And I think, to a degree, it's a welcome change, and it creates rivalries, and it's fun. And that's what this game is supposed to be about, in large part, is fun. And what a Final Four it was. What a March Madness it was on both the men's and the women's side. And congratulations also to UConn for winning their 5th national championship, and also congrats to San Diego State for making it there, and what an amazing run for Brian Dutcher and the San Diego State Aztecs. And until next time, thanks for joining me today. This is Hoot, host and producer of the Sports Deli Podcast. This is a production of Hootie Hoot Productions. Much love.
Boy, that was phenomenal. Great job. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. Remember, Black Lives Matter. Stop the bullying. Stop the Asian hate. Contact your local and state politicians for any inequalities, for any individual or any group that's being marginalized. Also, everyone, we want to raise awareness for those individuals that are currently imprisoned for non-violent offenses, in particular those with long-term sentences that are disproportionate, in particular to those people in the black and brown community. And I want to send a shout out to 40tons.co. 40 Tons is a socially conscious cannabis brand, and they're a social enterprise using the regulated cannabis industry to fight injustice, in particular for cannabis prisoners. So check them out again at 40, the number 4, the number 0, tons, plural, 40tons.co, because what they're doing in the cannabis space and being a socially conscious company is truly incredible, and they have my full support. And also wanted to remind all of you, if you're having a tough time, you can always call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and that number is 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. And now you can call 988. That's it. All you got to do is dial 988 from any phone. And they are available 24/7, 365 days. And if you want to follow me on social media or check out other episodes of this amazing Sports Deli podcast or any of my other podcasts, go to my Linktree at Linktree/Mike Hootner. And if you'd like to support us at the Sports Deli, we'd love to have you either make a one-time donation or feel free to make a donation monthly, either 99 cents a month, $4.99 a month, or $9.99 a month. If you have questions about that, send me an email again to thesportsdeli@gmail.com, and I will send you the link on how you can do that. You can also find it at the bottom of every podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Link at the bottom to support the show. Please check out our website at thesportsdelipodcast.com. Make sure that we continue the conversations with regards to 3 strikes and you're out and mandatory minimums, especially people that are in jail for non-violent offenses. So those things need to change. And remember, gents and ladies, please remember to do your monthly self-breast examinations. And remember, guys, this afflicts about 1,500 men annually, with about a third of those resulting in death. So we want to make sure that we do our monthly self-breast examinations, both men and women. And guys, remember to do your self-testicular examinations every month as well. Until next time, remember, it takes a village. I'm Hootie Hoot. This has been a production of Hootie Hoot Productions. Thank you for joining us in the Sports Deli, where everyone deserves a seat at the table. Remember, it takes a village. Much love, everybody.